Nepal. Similarly, we have today we have Meera ma'am, respected Meera ma'am, NELTA past president, Mr. Ashok Sapkota, NELTA treasurer and one of the facilitator for today's workshop, Dr. Leena Gurung, today's facilitator, all the all the NELTA Central Committee members, province presidents, branch chairs, coordinator, and all the wonderful participants. Namaste, good evening once again. I'm Vikas Rimal, NELTA National President, and I'd like to welcome you all in this third episode of Journal Editors Workshop series. This workshop is entitled on APA and Technicalities. As you know that this series of workshops are supported by the RELO, the US Embassy, Nepal. For today's session, we have two facilitators. Let me introduce them. Our first facilitator is Dr. Leena Gurung. Leena Gurung has completed her PhD in areas of learners' experience, online and distance education from Kathmandu University School of Education, Kusod. Dr. Gurung works as a lecturer in under the Department of Education in Kusod. She is also an associate editor of International Journal of Multidisciplinary Perspective on Higher Education and editorial team member of Journal of Education and Research. She has altogether 2 decades of teaching experience in schools, colleges, universities in social science discipline. She worked as a journalist for 6 years and also worked as a gender coordinator in Kusod under Norhead Quantic project. She has done several quantitative and qualitative research in since 2008. Her research areas of interest are online and distance education, curriculum assessment, digital pedagogy, gender analysis, women and development, mentoring, project evaluation, and digital divide. Similarly, we have Mr. Ashok Sapkota. Ashok Sapkota is a lecturer who leads classes on interdisciplinary readings and research in English education at Tribhuvan University, Nepal, and conducts research on use of technology and classroom practices. He has supervised more than 150 theses on different campuses and universities. Sapkota has gained an MPhil in English language education from Kathmandu University. He is working on taxonomic analysis of the Nepalese revised curriculum and its challenges in exercises in school level revised curriculum of Nepal under the University Grant Commission. He has written more than 2 dozens of articles in nationally acclaimed peer-reviewed journals and international journals, chapters in different books, written different books for bachelor and master level, worked as an editor and reviewer in different journals, conference proceedings, and ELT forums. Sapkota writes about educational controversies in Nepal and is particularly interested in the classroom dimension in exploring the use of technology and research usage. Before handing over the floor to the facilitators, I'd like to inform that if you have any questions related to today's topic, you can write them in the chat box during the presentation. We will be taking some of the questions at Q&A session at the end of this workshop. Now I'd like to hand over the floor to the facilitators. Now over to you, Leena ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Vikasi. Thank you so much. Respected chair, and the present chair of NELTA and other dignitaries as well as the participants of this workshop. We are very grateful for this opportunity, and so today we'll be talking about the APA and technicalities. With my co-facilitator, Ashok sir.
Thank you, Leena ma'am. Now, as you can see on your screen, dear participants and the key concerned people in this NELTA and US Embassy. So we'll be focusing on and sharing our ideas on APA and technicalities. Me, myself, Ashok Sapkota, and my co-presenter, Lena Guru. Let's proceed our presentation. Well, as you are all familiar with, the recording of this webinar will be sent to you to your email by tomorrow. You can further explore more videos on this workshop on NELTA's official YouTube channel as given in the link, or you can simply type the keyword NELTA YouTube channel itself. Certification, more than 80% you need to have an attendance for the workshop in order to get certificates. And regarding attendance and evaluation form, you will receive the link of this session of attendance by the end of this workshop. Your feedback is highly valued in this webinar.
Well, to run this session very effectively, I would like to request our participants to keep up with some housekeeping rules, that if you're not speaking, then please keep yourself on mute, because there's a lot of disturbance when you sound. And then you also might have to switch off your video during the presentations. And if you have any queries, as Vikasa has already mentioned, you can put down your queries in the chat box. And then if you really want to speak, then you can raise your hand button there, and then we'll give you some space, some time to put your ideas. Yeah.
Thank you. So what are the major things, the takeaways, or the objectives of the session then? By the end of the session, the participants, as you as such, will be familiar with the 7th edition of AP style of citation and technicalities, referencing and formatting while writing, or anticipated problems and solutions, and edit submitted journal articles from APA formatting. Therefore, our major focus will be on 7th edition of APA style of citation and technicalities.
Well, so here I have written the word key to Golden Gate. So why I have kept this word Golden Gate? Because being a scholar, we always wish to publish our papers. We want to be an editors, and most of you are editors here, right? So, in order to have the publications, we need to have a knowledge of these APA, and of course, we have to update our knowledge. So that's why we are here, to get familiar with the 7th edition of APA. So, if you want to publish your articles in any good journal, whether it's national or international, there are certain criteria that goes for the screening, right? So the editors will see that whether the authors have followed the guidelines of the journal or not. For example, just following the template, and then whether it aligns with the journal issue or not, and then whether you have followed the APA 7th edition in all its format and styles, and then if you have whether you have submitted these articles elsewhere or not, and then if you, what's the condition of the plagiarism within your text, and what kind of contribution you are going to do in the knowledge industry. So among these 5 major considerations, you can see APA is one of the major things. That's why we are here to learn about APA. It's quite not only popular, but it's also the emerging need, and everyone from since I think spring 2020, all the universities, journals, they have now applied this APA format. So APA now has become the foundation of academic publication.
So you can see the key terms: citation, referencing, and bibliography. Well, in the earlier stages, we used to use the word bibliography, where it was not directly linked with the citation. Might be some works that we have consulted, and some works that we have not consulted indirectly would be listed in bibliography. It was not necessary that all the works that were cited would have been in bibliography or else. But here, citation and reference, that will be more focusing on the things that we have clearly cited on running text or in-text citation needs to be maintained in the references. Here you can see as in the image here, the things that have been cited need to be included in the references or vice versa. This is what the matching of citation and referencing is necessary. So why citation then?
Yeah, definitely. So here, let's have a kind of brainstorming. So before we jump into our own ideas of why citation is important, let's think a little bit on this idea, and then we have a small activity for you where you can spare a minute, and then you can share your ideas in Padlet. Asuksha has shared this link in the chat box, so I would like to request everyone to go into this Padlet, and there you will find a plus button towards the right corner. of the screen, and then there you can jot down your ideas why citation is necessary in journal article.
Simply quick instruction. Simply click the link on your chat that has been sent on your chat box. I'm sending it again in the chat box. Then after, many of you have experienced, written the articles, edited it. So we would like to start our session from your experiences. So why citation is necessary in writing a journal article?
Yeah, there is a pink plus sign button to the corner right side. I think we can share these interface of Padlet
Sure.
so that everyone can see what's the response.
Let me take you to the.
You have to share the screen, Asuksa, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just give me a pause. Here we go. Thank you. Yes, to acknowledge, as you can see the screen, yes, the ideas are coming up. To validate the given idea, reliable, to make the concept. Well, for the credibility of authors. Validate the idea-driven. Acknowledge original authors, great. To avoid plagiarism, validate the thesis statement, great. Authenticity, acknowledge the original authors. Plagiarism is repeated, yeah, great. 14 plus, so the gap. You can see there, yes, coming up. Gap is there, reliable concept is there, original authors. To help the readers locate the information, great. To maintain the credibility, to get the main idea. Wow. To give power to the ideas. The word power has a catchy word here. To highlighting the major points. For the authenticity of the facts and data. I like the word, to make the document legal. What do you think, Lena? Over to you.
Yeah, I think it's about legal is also in a sense that you are being identified for your work, you have been given credit for your work, and that's I think what we as a researcher or scholars, we look for that authenticity. And when you are giving credit to others, it's also kind of giving autonomy to the author. So I think in that sense also, it's also giving power. You know, I can see there's a word power coming there.
Great.
So, yeah, so many good ideas are there. Like it also helps to navigate where your research is, you know, what's the idea given there, you know, to organize your research, to disseminate it, to even to connect to the researchers. And yeah, yes, I think this is how we practice giving credit to each other. I can see there's a lot many ideas. So thank you everyone for putting your ideas in the Padlet. Now we go back to our presentation.
Sure. Now we'll back to the presentation looking experience. So just now you shared that you started several keywords. We really valued your thoughts. It looks you are experienced a lot in writing a journal article as an editor too. So now, there you go. Why citation and referencing style? Let's have an worldview. There are different ways of citing sources from your research. Right. The citation style sometimes depends upon the academic discipline involved. What are those academic disciplines then? Or style? The first one of most that we are discussing today is American Psychological Association that we call APA, which is particularly used in the field of education, psychology, and sciences. Secondly, some of you are familiar with Modern Language Association, MLA, is used by the faculty, particularly humanities. We have Chicago Tarvin style, is generally used by the business, history, and the fine arts. Likewise, we have IEEE. It is particularly focused as the Institute of Electric and Electronics Engineers. CSE, the Council of Science Editors. We have ACM, Association of Computing Machinery by the faculties of computer science. We have ASA, American Sociological Association style. We have Harvard referencing, we have Vancouver system, and sometimes these all different styles of citation might be sometimes university specific, sometimes department trends. So you have seen the worldview. There are different ways how citation and referencing style might vary. Among them, we'll be focusing, our focus today will be on APA referencing.
Yeah.
So here it comes.
We have been discussing about why citation is necessary. Connecting with the earlier points, it's necessary because it's also a part of honesty and integrity that authors should have. Giving credit to others, giving authority to others, and also respecting to the intellectual asset that we have, right? After doing a lot of work, research, putting your ideas and contributing to the knowledge industry. So honesty and integrity is the major thing. And then research, it's also important to disseminate with the research that we have done and to the scholarship. And there will also be published lots of books, and it's also important to disseminate those information and ideas to the readers.
That's true. And don't forget, even you take a photo, you need to acknowledge or take the consent. Recently, the government of Nepal has clearly stated that even you take a photo wherever you are, even you put in the Facebook, consent is a must. So research, even in research, we take a photo, we cite the words, we take the keywords, citation and referencing is a must. Now, the focus of today will be focusing on the journal articles, even in published nationally or globally. Citation and referencing is a foundation or a basic skill. Now, why citation and referencing? Putting your thoughts into together.
I think these are all the points that our participants has already expressed in Padlet. So it's a kind of repetition. It's just like we have agreed that the citation is necessary in order to give credit to the individuals for the creative and intellectual works that we have utilized in our research writing. And it's also helpful to navigate or locate a particular resource. And in order to combine plagiarism, also we need this kind of citation, right? So, and then it includes the author's name, date, location of publishing, company, journal title, or GOI. So necessary for a citation and how the information is ordered or organized, right? So it's also how we organize those kind of information, massive information that has happened all around the world. And also it also is important in order to, it gives importance to a very kind of nuisance as well, just like the punctuation and formatting. So, and then when we do research, when we try to, give our ideas in the global discourse in our areas, the citation of the resources, it also helps us to bring more clarity with our research and contribute to the ideas and then make your arguments or claims even more convincing to that scholarship. So it's one of the basic criteria for acceptance or rejection of a paper in a journal worldwide. So if you are not familiar with the APA, if you don't follow that format, there are a lot many chances that your article will be rejected, because the editors, you always see that besides the content, they always see that the authors has followed the guideline and applied the APA format and style.
Interesting to share for. If we quick check with the history, APA started in 1829 with 7 pages. Yeah. Now we are in 2022. Actually, the latest 7th edition was published in 2019 with 703 pages. As a 7th edition, you see, lots of changes had happened in between. Now, what are the changes?
Also, and then I also add also that we had the 6th edition in 2009 and it came in 2019, right? So it has been 10 years. So there's a lot many changes. So now every university has applied from 2020. So we have to get familiar with this APA. Yeah.
Sure. So you are a reader. Let's look from the reader's perspective. What are the steps of citation then? APA 7th focuses on 6 different steps. This is what which is useful when you are preparing the guidelines for our journal publication as an editor. We read the work that you want to cite. You identify the idea that you want to put in your paper. Write a sentence about that idea. But don't forget, write a reference list entry for the work that you have cited. Add in the corresponding in-text citation. You match it that we said earlier. Repeat as needed for more works and ideas. Because if you add more works, it makes your writing more comprehensive. This idea might be useful when you make the guidelines, right?
Yeah, I think that the sixth one is, it's also trying to say that when you write an article, APA is important or citation is important because in the beginning, when we write the introduction or problem statement, it helps to develop the idea, right? Or develop the argument. And then later on, it also helps to support your own claims. So it can come up, in the introduction as well as in the discussion section. Yeah.
Sure. So just to have a quick look on what is here with citation, and here comes with referencing. The thing that you have cited is needed in the reference section. So we have in-text citation, the first one, and the second one, referencing, which the both concepts are necessary in a journal article writing, or when you prepare the guideline or you review the ideas. Now, let's come to the citation.
Yeah. So when we talk about citations, there are basically two types of citation, parenthetical and narrative citation. So parenthetical citation, you can see there is like both the author and then, there is the date, and then it's separated by comma. This is how we do the citation for in parenthetical. So, and then it appears in a parenthesis, appears in the end of the sentence, but input period, like after closing the parenthesis. You can see the example here down there. So Morrison, 2018. So this is the text, said by Morrison, and we have cited here. And this is how we cite in parenthesis, a parenthetical citation.
That's true. We used to say the word period. In our language, in the punctuation, we used to say full stop, but actually we use the word period in APA. So you can see there are two ways, parenthetical. Then the next one is narrative. So what is narrative? Same idea that we said earlier in parenthetical citation can be written as a narrative, where you can write Morrison 2018 states a case study provides. So, and how we take the ideas, we focus on the way that you can see on your screen. Well, so citing multiple authors. Just in 6 steps, we said the idea that you can more accumulate with different scholars can make your idea more comprehensive. When you cite multiple authors parenthetically, place citation in an alphabetical order, both in in-text citation and references, because it has same order, where the readers can easily look at. There is other way to cite as well. People go with the latest, recent to past as well. But APA suggests this idea, when you go in an alphabetical order, it makes the readers more easy to locate. Like here, I have given the both examples. Adams et al. 2019, Solomon Way and Solomon 2015, Westinghouse 2017. There are options too, as you can see. So this is the way that we cite using multiple authors.
So why we need to learn these APA? Why is there a problem with the citation? When we don't cite well, then there's a lot of problem in the academia, right? While publishing the paper. So we need to think about where the problem is. So we need to learn how to cite. We need to learn what to cite, right? And then when to cite these resources. So how much to cite? How many words to cite? So how do I write them? So why my paper is rejected? So I think this is also very important. So to whom to cite and when? So these are the very important, important and pertinent questions that an author as well as the editor should think about, right? So that's why citation is very, very important.
Sure. So when we are citing the source, what are the possible parts then? Are we simply citing keywords, or we need to cite more? Yes, no doubt. We can cite the ideas from pages, from paragraphs, from sections, from tables, from figures, from supplement materials, you see. Footnotes from an article, book, report, web page, or other work. It could be chapters, it could be forewords, it could be other sections of authored books, timestamps of videos, audiobooks, even if slide numbers in PowerPoint presentation that is made in conference or workshops or even lectures. Now, let's see some of the examples of each. You see, pages. How we cite the pages, you can see here. Chapters, the way we cite example of chapters. Multiple pages, double P here. Paragraphs, tables, slides, video, where we even need to have a timings, audiobooks, verses, lines. So it's not only the ideas from pages. There are multiple ways. Even if we have personal communication, we even cite. These are particular examples that we need to know.
Yeah. So Ashok sir has mentioned that there's multiple sources of citation, and he has also presented the examples. So sometimes we come across the sources where there is no author, right? So the author is anonymous, unknown. So in that case also we can cite if we follow the APA style, right? So these are the examples where you can cite. You can write with the anonymous, with the date they're given there, or the title of the book there, or even like an article there, but it can be in these inverted commas. So this is how we also cite even if there is no author. And yeah, I think next slide. So as we have mentioned earlier, like how much to cite, right? If we do not know how much to cite, then also we can be in problem. So we cannot cite more than 40 words in the text. So there you can see there's an original text, all right? And then if we cite the most concise and comprehensive definition of learner autonomy is as follows, and we try to cite as it is, but then it has 69 words, which is more than 40, right? So in that case, we have to parenthesis, all right, try to cite less than 40 words, and if you are citing more than 40 words, then there is an left aligned with the hanging, or not the hanging, right? It's a left aligned, and then you have to put this right author's name, year, and the page number as well. And please remember there in context, in the citation, you can see the period, it's before the citation. All right, before the author citation in bracket. So that shouldn't go after these citations. So even this kind of period, comma also matters in APA styles.
Great. To add, Lena here, just you said earlier, in journal writing, we need to think up how many times will you cite 40 words is very important. Actually, several internationally acclaimed journal in Q1, Q2, and Q3 journal, they try to discourage the repetition of 40 word citation more, you see. Paraphrasing keywords, you need to think up what they focus on. And this is also one of the idea how much you have taken the chunk from the books or things when your paper is accepted or rejected, right? So now,
Agreed.
Moving further, sometimes we paraphrase. How do we paraphrase then? Even if you paraphrase, there might be some of your words, there might be some content words. There might be substantial revision. You might use some keywords. You try to include the meaning of entire text or whole text. As you can see on your screen, we have given you the original text and how the same text has been cited with paraphrasing. We've also shared our ideas. This we call paraphrasing, but in text citation with giving the ideas as well. Moving further.
Yeah, so here is an example how we do these citation in parenthetical and narrative. So when there is an author, you can see subquota, comma 2020, and then there the other side you can see 2020 is just in bracket, right? When you have the two authors, you can also see the difference how we cite. And then 3 or more authors, there is again like this kind of differences that comes, differences between 6th APA and 7th APA. We will talk about that later. We have another slides for that. So you can see it all. And then there is also the group author with abbreviation. So there is also, first of all, you write this whole abbreviation, National Institute of Mental Health. And then again in bracket, you write the abbreviation and the year of the publication. Right? And then there is group author without abbreviation. It's quite easy. So yeah, I think this is a very easy thing, and I think we all can do that.
Sure. This was the comprehensive ideas that we shared earlier. Well, now let's have a quiz. We have spoken a lot, right? Lena ma'am?
Yeah.
So now your turn. Now you can say which of the following in-text parenthetical citation is correct for multiple authors.
Yeah.
Option A, option B, option C, or option D. The thing that you think it is correct, please just, you can write A if you think A is correct. Or if you think B is correct, just write B. Or if you think C is correct, just write C. Or if you think D is correct, please write D. Now over to you in the chat. Well, great. D, B, okay. D. Mr. Write D. Agni will write D. Okay, D is coming more frequently. Gopal Vishal writes D.
We have got
D.
one response for B as well.
Yes, D. 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 B2. Okay, B2. We are talking about APA 7th. D. D. Any more? D. Great. So what do you think? The correct answer is them.
I think the majority of them, they have answered D. I think.
Obviously, yes, the correct answer is option D. For we are talking about in-text parenthetical citation. We are not talking about the references, right?
Yes.
Now,
B, it goes to references. So I think there is some confusion with there. So B is the correct answer if we had asked you about the reference. But since it's an in-text parenthetical, D is the right answer. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Still, the bracketing is also important. So may not be in the references too. Well, so moving to the next one. Now let's have one more. This is a case. Would like to take you. This a bit, it might take time. It might take 1 minute for 1 minute activity. You find a book named Chapters. Right, we have taken chapters, short stories. The author is Amod Bhattarai. It was published in 2013. And it was published by Formula and Co. Publishers, New Delhi. Now, how will you cite this using APA 7th edition? Now, ideas in the chat box, please. Cases on your screen.
I think while they are writing the answers, we have a query from Amit Kiranji, who says, what's wrong with the B option? Because he had chosen that. Well, I had already clarified, but still, if you would like to clarify a little bit more on that also, Gri.
Yeah, normally we use surname, not the first name. There was a first name as well, and followed by these both first name and surname. That's why we chose option D. Amod Bhattarai, 2013. Bhattarai, 2013. Okay. Our focus is on APA. Some of you are going with the narrative, and some of you are going with the parenthetical. That sounds interesting. Great.
We didn't say that. We didn't say whether.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
We like your idea actually, right? Some of you said Bhattarai, and in bracketing 2013.
And see, Bhattarai 2017, the date is completely wrong. It's 2013. So we shouldn't do that mistake, because we have to be correct with while citing the date.
Correct. Some of you saying Bhattarai, 2013, and some of you say Bhattarai in bracketing 2013. Great. That's it. This sounds very interesting. Any of you are familiar with the both parenthetical citation and here the next narrative citation too. Thank you. So quick check with the answers here. So Bhattarai, and you put in the bracket 2013, or you put the entire in Bhattarai, 2013. Right. Shall we move further?
I can just a minute, Sukji. I can see that somebody wrote Bhattarai, comma, and then there is no space between the surname and the year. All right. So we need to have one space there. right?
One
So,
space, true. Spacing and comma and even period makes the difference in APA as well. It looks minor, but it seems to be important, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
In case of APA, those are not minor actually. So those are very important things as well, right? So,
sure.
yeah.
Now we'll have a short break, bio break, as we have been discussing with. So, dear participants, as we all said, we'll have how many minutes break? 5 minutes break.
So
Is it true?
6:45.
Yes, it's around 6:45. We'll be back by 6:50. Let's have a 5 minutes break. Thank you.
I think it's 6:40 right now.
Oh, it's 6:40. Great. Back. Now let's proceed our presentation further. Well, just before we were talking about references. What references? Citation first. Now is the time to talk about referencing. How referencing can be done in APA 7th. Well, there are some examples and practices.
Yeah, so there are major 4 elements when we do the referencing in APA style. So these are the 4 important things that we have to note down whenever you would like to cite the reference, right? So first of all, you need to know who the author is and who is actually contributing to that particular work. And then the date when it was published. And the title, what's the title of that particular article? And then source is a kind of location where we try to find out this particular research work. So this is how we retrieve this work. So that's why these 4 important elements are very important in reference. These are the basic things that we should know.
Sure. So why referencing then? As you all said earlier in your sharing, 3 main things that the journal editing or editors in journal worldwide focus on. You credit the site, it's for academic integrity and to avoid plagiarism. If we don't make a referencing and proper citation, we are under the plagiarism. And this is one of these 3 are one of the reasons, or plagiarism is one of the reasons that our articles are either accepted or rejected. So let's have some examples of referencing.
Yes. So we need to identify or find out this DOI number when we cite the book. So here we have an example of a book called Feminist Therapy 2nd edition. And this is how we put the citation in the reference. So there is a surname, then the initial name of the author, then there is the date of the year, the date when this work was published, and then there is the name of the book here, and then we have to write down here the edition that is in bracket here, and there is period, and these I think this is the journal article, right? So here we have this. No, it's a book. All right, so we have the publisher name. Just got confused, sorry for that. So yeah, publishers is American Psychological Association, and then there we have this DOI number. So here we don't have to write the city name. And in the parenthetical citation, we do Brown, 2018, and in narrative we just avoid this comma here, this Brown, and then there is just the year in the bracket.
Great. So moving further. Well, book without you can say DOI. The example we have taken from our own examples. For example, if I look my own book, we have simply the difference. Yeah, this is interesting, right? The difference between APA 6th and APA 7th. In APA 6th, we utilize the city of publication, right, Lena?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now in 7th, it has we don't write the city of publication. We directly go the publisher, name of publisher. You see, surname, first name, first their word, then after date of publication, name of the book, italicized with the first key letter. Then after we go with the place of publication. And as you can see on the second one, we have parenthetical citation for the same book in text one, and a narrative citation also, how it could be done. We have just shared you an example of referencing and citation both book without DOI too, which is in practice around the world. Here we go.
Yeah. So this is a book where you have an editor. So editors also has to be given credit. Oh yeah, I just my attention has been drawn by here the comments that has been written by Pitambarji and Gopal Prasadji. I think there was some mistake in the earlier slides. Yeah, definitely the name of the book has to be in italics, italicized. Okay, so yeah, sorry for that. So maybe while editing, we just forgot to do that. Yeah, and then when there's an authored book with the editor, there is you also have to mention the editor's name, but then that goes after these book's name, and then there is ed, capital E and D, then period in the bracket, and then we have these publisher's name there. So you can see the example of how we cite in the parenthetical and narrative citation as well.
That's true. Yes, there was a question in the chat box as well from Rajendraji. When to make italic and when not to make italic. We will address your answer in upcoming slides.
I think we are coming to that. Yeah.
To that, sure.
Yeah, we are coming to that about that. Yeah.
Please just make a patience. It will address your queries and concern. Now it's the time for book chapters. Yeah, we have our own books. Here you can see on the screen book chapters. If you see it very critically here multiple authors, book chapters. Actually, the book, the main book title of the book is being italicized, not the chapters, right? And here you can see how we have been cited here in a parenthetical citation and narrative citation. Et al. Is there, the first author, Pandey et al. 2022. But please just make a quick remark here. There is difference between et al. In citation and in referencing. You can compare. In earlier editions, we used to write et al. Even in referencing, right?
Yeah, one more concern here, we just need to mention that, Pitambarji also has mentioned that, like here you can see the name of the book, COVID, C is capital. So we write this capital letter for the word that starts with the pronoun. Okay, that's a pronoun. We write a capital letter of that. Yeah.
Thank you. Moving to the next one. Referencing citation for the translated book.
Mm-hmm. So here now there is also the growing discourse that the credit has to be given to the one who translates the book as well, because in the original writing there's still not accessible for many people in the academia. So now lots of work has been started to translate. So this is an example of a book that has been translated by Vrikuti Rai. So, but dear Ijelia Veli, or a feminist manifesto in 15 suggestions, that has been translated in Nepali language. So we also cite the one who has translated the book. Yeah.
That's true. And no doubt, the diasporic situation around the world has been grown up. Even in the United States, the multilingual and indigenous group, the different countries migrate. And at the situation, the scope of translation is growing up, which we are all familiar with. Now, the other examples of having the referencing of dictionary, thesaurus, and or encyclopedia, you can see. Sometimes it might have no date. Or APA Dictionary of Psychology. This is one of the popular book. And when it was retrieved in June here, and this is what we think of. And there are some citations which we work with the dictionary, thesaurus, and encyclopedia. Now, the next is anthology. This is very popular. Anthology is very popular in ELT practices and even in humanities. You can see, and in anthology, normally they are edited. And here we have given an example, the complete social scientist, Cortluin Reader. All right, an American Psychology Association with the DOI. And here you can see the parenthetical citation as well, how we can find it. To move further.
Yeah, so Yeah, so we cited we gave an example of how we cite the books. Now we come to cite the, how we cite the journal articles. So I think the first one, which we have given here in the presentation slide, I think this is the most common way of citing the journal articles. And we have, a lot of us have actually practiced this, where you start with the surname, and then there is the initial of the author, then there is a date in the bracket, and then there is an article, the title of the article, and the name of the journal is italicized. And then regarding this italicized, we have a question for you at the end. We will explain you later. And then there is a volume number. If there is an issue, you can write that, but if there's no issue, no need to do it. And then volume also goes into italicized, and there is a page number, and of course the GUI number. And this is how we also do these parenthetical and narrative citation.
Great. So to move further, journal articles is one of the popular thing that normally we use even in preparing journals. So journal article without a GUI, with a non-database URL. As you can see on your screen, the example, Journal of Post-Secondary Education and Disability, which you can see the title is, the keywords, the key letters are capitalized, issue, and non-database. And here, again, the idea that we shared earlier, the difference between et al. Here you can see in referencing and citation. A descriptive review of ADHD coaching research, implications for college students. Title, journal title, then it's article title and the journal. Now.
Yeah, so there are a lot of conferences that happens, where the authors, scholars, they share their ideas, they share their papers and make the presentations. In some conference, they happen to publish the proceedings, whereas in some they don't. So we can cite both the presentations as well as the articles that has been published in the proceedings. So these are the 4 different examples that we have kept here in order to give an idea how we cite the presentations and the articles in the conference proceedings. In the first one, you can see when you cite the proceedings, you also need to mention the date of the conference when it was held, so that you can see it comes after the author's name there, then date, and then the date, actually the month and the day. So, and then there is an article, the title of the article published there in the proceeding, and then the name of the proceeding there, and it's followed by the GUI, the URL. And then there's another example where there is a paper presentation. If it's not published, then you can, in bracket, you can write down the paper presentation and then the conference name. And when here, since it's not the published one, the article, the title of the presentation is in italics, right? So not the conference. And then here you need to also mention the name of the city where the conference was held, even the country as well. And the other one, if there is, like in conference, it is a proceeding, some of the proceedings they do have lots of articles there, and they have these page numbers, so you can also write down those page numbers, or you can, even if it doesn't have GUI number, then you can give the link, the direct link of this article, that's a URL, so it's given there. And the final one is also without the page number. Here you can see there's, in all these references, you can see there is a date of the conference, and then whether it's a presentation or proceedings, you have to mention accordingly.
Sure. And the ideas is regarding conference, proceedings, and presentations. This is very popular in ELT practices as well. And we cite from the different sources. So this is a common practice that even goes in ELT practices too. Now, another idea is magazine, journal, magazine, or newspaper article without GUI from the most academic research database or print version. As you can see on your screen, the example is here. So we talk about the journal articles, journals, how to cite it here. So you can see how without GUI also, there are 2 different examples that we have taken from APA referencing itself. And one thing I would like to add here, the ideas that you get on APA, on sometimes the free version, right? And there are in chapter 9 and chapter 10 of the book that you might have on your APA that is freely downloadable has some errors in chapter 9 and chapter 10, particularly in case of italicized, right, Lina?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also, you need to take concern. If you are having a free downloadable book that is particularly on chapter 9 and chapter 10 regarding referencing section, there are some errors. Please take into concern when you consult the free resources. Well, to move further, before we move further, let me quick check with the things. Yeah, there are why the volume is italicized, where the space between will come to you. There are lots of questions and queries behind that. Will come in later on. Well, another interesting thing in 7th edition. Journal article with DOI. And journal article with the DOI 21 or more authors. You could see APA suggests 21. We can write up to 21 or more authors. Yes, in citation, there might be at all. And can anyone tell me if there were more authors, right? What does APA 6th edition use to suggest us? Up to how many authors? Can
7 authors.
How many authors?
7 authors.
7 authors.
Yes.
And now in
20
APA
authors.
7, we have 21. And et al is also there, which we normally use on citation. But in referencing, we go to 21. There's an interesting logic behind it. Why do you think? Why 21? Why not 22? You can write in the chat or else. This is a very interesting query, right? Why 21?
Yeah.
Why
Or
up to
even
21?
like, yeah. Or we can even think about why this number increase so drastically.
Okay,
from 7
interesting.
to 21, right?
Invented in 2021. That's
Yeah.
why 21 authors. Very interesting idea, Rajendraji. Okay, seems interesting. Anybody else? You can put in your ideas on the chat box.
There's a huge difference. We had 7 and then now it's 21.
It was 7 and now it's in 21. Great.
Yeah.
Any other? Any idea? We're waiting for your thoughts. Give credit to every author. Interesting, Rajendra Prasad Baral, sir. Yes. No idea, Amit. Okay. So one of the reasons is you need to give credit for every author. In the past time, or might be 2 or 3 authors used to get only the credits. And some other authors who might have contributed more were behind the curtain as well. And there might be the use of equal access or inclusiveness or else. And here, as APA has a range of 10 or more plus years, they might have done the research of common practices, having how many authors to the maximum level of common input. Maybe it was introduced in 2021. Okay, allow 21 authors. Might be this. This is one of the funny idea, right? Thank you. So moving further.
Yeah. I think here also we need to a little bit clarify, like, you know, when there is in these APA 7, when there is 3 or more than 3 authors, we give them cite them as et al. Earlier we didn't had. So here, but then, you know, there is like, even if we don't have that citation for the 2nd, 3rd, and the following authors, but still we are able to write down the name up to 21. I think that's both the sides we can see here. It's all about giving credit to the author. Yeah,
that's true. Thank you for your additional thoughts too. Here we go. Now, journal interests. Over to Lynn.
Yeah, sometimes you are able, like, there can be also preprint, and there can be also the articles that's still in the press, but you need to cite them, right? There's an urgency that you need to cite this author's idea. So, but still, even if it's not published, but still we can cite them by writing down the in press in parentheses then instead of the date. And then you can write the author, you know, author's name there, and then the article of the journal. And then there is also the name of journal as we have been doing it. Yes.
Great. Now We have a magazine article. Magazine have been popular these days. In our context, Reader Digest have been cited a lot. Even many texts have been taken from Reader Digest in ELT practices and even in humanities, even in social sciences too. You can see on the screen the examples, how a magazine article can be cited, right? And here we can see the ideas that have been cited here. We even cite the dates, year, right? Then after we look the issues, even the pages, we can find it the situations too. And even the URL. And there is an interesting thing regarding URL. We normally do not go more than 2 lines. If it is more than 2 lines, we shorten the URL. This is interesting. The ideas have been focused more in 7th edition.
Yeah, I think the more major idea that, the 7th AP style is putting forward is to just shorten this kind of URL link. Don't make it long, all right? So
there might be reason why it might be confusing to the readers as well, to know and even to turn with the ideas as well, to come or to explore. And, even in research from the referencing, we try to snowball the ideas. The readers snowball the ideas and they might consult more, not only from the article, but having a lot from the reference section as well.
I think in some of the journals, they clearly mention these kind of things in their guidelines, where I work in International Journal of Multidisciplinary Perspective in Higher Education, where we have mentioned about these kind of, to shorten this URL, right? But in some journals, we don't find it. So I think it depends on like our priority that we give, or like, the need that we feel to inform the author in our guidelines here.
That's true. So now another important section is particularly on newspaper article. You see, newspaper has been one of the issues that have been most popular these days. The ideas that are aligned with the things. Sometimes we have a new concern, new topic, which we might have to take from the newspaper too. So this is one of the way that we cite the newspaper, as you can see on your screen. Moving next, blog.
Yeah.
Blog post is very popular these days. Even APS 7 has given the more focus on the stress on different electronic ideas, blogs, wikis, tweets, YouTube. There are many more. There are more than 180 plus examples in chapter 9 and chapter 10 of APS 7th edition, you see. So
I think in the section, like in AP in book, in 9.32, it also mentioned the ideas of how the social media sources can be cited. So there are so many social media sources that we can cite. So it's just an example how we cite the blog post. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Now, we spoke a lot. Now your turn. Here is a little bit a difficult one than the earlier that you have done. Please look at your screen carefully. There is a book title. There is edited authors, there is year, there is chapter, and there is a writer of the chapter. There are pages, there are publisher, edition, and city of the publisher. Based on 7th AP edition or APS 7th edition, how will you make a reference of these details? Dear participants, you might take more than 1 minute. Or might be 2 minutes is okay for us. We are comfortable. Right now, you can just have a quick rough sketch on your notes that if you have on your desk, and just post on the reference section, please. Well, yeah, if you have done, you can post it. On your chat box.
Is it too difficult because we are not receiving any answers till now?
It might be the cases, yeah.
Yeah.
Please think up what comes first, then what comes second. I think they need clue. Don't forget, it's an edited book, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. We have got.
Great.
We are doing back
Sure.
and forth. Yes.
This was a little bit tough than the earlier ones.
Humanist qualitative research.
Excuse me, I have a difficulty in italicizing the title of the book here in the chat box.
Oh, yeah. Or what you can do is, if you have such problem, then you can just mention there italicized, so
Okay.
that we'll understand.
Yes, we could see the first one, Pitambar Paudel, having the right ideas of the ideas here. Let's see. Let's wait for a few more answers. No problem. We can understand that. Thank you. Those who have written that, we can understand that. That's true, because you can work on the Word file and you can work on, or you can, if you have a piece of paper, you can work on the piece of paper, then later you can type it. Well, so let's have a quick, now let's say guess. Oh, I see. That's interesting. I could see here answers coming up. Great. Some of them started with Benjamin and Lincoln, and some of them started with the author's name. Let's see which one is correct. Right. do you want to begin with the editors or
No,
author? Or
author,
authors?
author.
Think carefully.
Mhm.
Chapter author or the book editor? We could see the mix of right, Lena?
Yeah, we have given you the information of author's name, who have written the chapter and the chapter title, because we want you to cite the author of, the chapter, yeah, not the editors, yeah. We said
That's true.
editors,
Chapter author.
yeah,
Okay,
the
chapter
major
author.
work,
Great.
the major
Chapter
work
author.
is done by the chapter.
So that's a quick clue for you all. We
Mhm.
start from chapter author,
The
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lina ma'am, are you speaking? I think you are on mute.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for that. I was just reading the comments and I was just trying
Okay.
to
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
reading the
Okay.
name of the participants who has posted the answers. So
Great.
yeah, sorry.
Now, this is a bit just the difficulty level might be a bit high than the earlier one. We understand your thoughts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes,
because-
Basudev Dahal, the latest one, started from the authors. The first one was Pitambar to share his answer. That's true. We could share his, and some of you shared from the editor's name. So I think it's time to go for the answer.
Yes, we have to say the answer because we have many more other topics and
Activities.
slides to go with. So let's do that. All right. So since we have given you the information about the author, we want you to cite the author's work here. So when you cite the author's work, definitely you have to start with the surname of the author. Then there is the initial V, Olison, comma, V, period. And there is the date of the publication in parentheses 2018 and its period. And then there is a name of the title of the chapter, the book chapter. All right. So the
That is feminist qualitative research. Yeah.
Feminist qualitative
So
research.
excuse me, sir, have you changed the slide or you are on the same slide? So
The same
We
slide.
are on the same slide.
Yeah.
okay.
So we don't have another slide with the answer. We will just discuss that, right? So then after you cite the author's name and then the year, you also have to write down the book chapter, the title of the book chapter, and how we cited. And then there is where this book is actually located, right? The source is very, very important. So then it starts after period of the book title, there is, the book chapter title, there is in, then there is editor's name, Dengen and Lincoln with the initials as well. And then there is editors in parentheses, and then you have to write down the name of the book in italicized, all right? And then the edition of the book, and there is the page number. I think the publication, the publisher's name first, and then the page number.
That's true. That's true. And as you can see, some of you are working with NK Denjin, and some of you said Lincoln YS. Please take care with this editor's name, right? And some of you are saying with NK Lincoln, that's true. And second one also, we have the ideas that we can get with these, with the same ideas. In the earlier, I think there was, the first one was with the first name and surname, and second also was with the surname and first name, but these have been made easier in 7th edition. Yes, you can find in examples as well, right? A chapter with an edited book and DUI, as you can find it with the multiple authors. Great. Is it better if you write in the word and share? Yeah, I think, yeah.
Let's move ahead now.
Yes, the idea is the second answer, if it guess. Do they want answer? Do you want answer?
Yeah, I think that's the answer that we have said.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if like there is a city of publishers,
but if you write and
cite
share, that would be the good idea. I think so.
Cite that.
Okay.
That will give the clear idea, I think.
I think some of you have already mentioned here.
Let me quick check.
Yeah.
Let us quick check so that it will be easier for you all. Yes, here we go. Yeah, we see and have a quick check. Let me have a think first. Yeah.
Sir, I have given an example. Does it work? त्यो मेरोमा
Uh,
type भएन कि I could not type.
No,
it.
yes. I think example was given there with the UI, I think, yeah. Example, no, we are not asking with the example. We are having the activity, sorry, for that. Right. Yeah. And Kesav Upriti's answer, the latest answer is fine, but one thing, after in yen period K dot, okay, what we call point or a period in APA. After K, we have a period as well. So don't forget having a period, right? So which we can work on. Do you guys see anything to
And
share?
I think page number should
Sir,
be
the
also
textbook
inside the
should be italicized. Yes, right,
small
sir.
bracket.
Fifth
Uh,
ED, not
also,
whole
sir,
edition,
should be.
ED only. Yes, sir.
Also, sir,
Uh,
I think you have prepared reference material for the participants.
yes, sure. We
can
will
include
send you
that
the
and
reference.
share later.
I will send you the letter on the reference material that we have prepared
Yes.
for you regarding the things as well. Some of you might be
Yes.
working with the things. Okay. Yeah, we can see feminist ideas. Dinjin, Yanke. No, not the surname first. That's the first name that we come with this. Sunitaji with the ideas first, which we'll be working on. And no city. Please remember, although we have given city of the publisher, just to make you think carefully that there's a difference in 6th and 7th. In 7th edition, we do not make the reference of city. We have given here just to clarify the concept only, but we don't mention city. Yeah, that's true. And the latest one, yeah, yes, Kesavubradi's answers seem to be correct to my opinion, and that's true. That's true. His publications and page number, yeah, page number by the end. That's true, and you can work on the things as well. And I think, let me quickly check the idea first and share you the answer. Some of you were with the sharing the answer. Yes, O'Valley 2018, feminist research in decade, challenge and prospective, yen.k, lenging in space, Lincoln, editors, EDS is there. Then after the says handbook, the says handbook of the things, yeah. Italicize is there, and we have italicize. Then we come with this 5th edition. We come with 5th edition ED only, period. Then after we have comma. Then we have double P, that is 264 and 316. Right. Then after we have says publication. Publications, yes. Let me share you this answer to you all as you are talking about these things. Here we go. This is the answer for everyone for your reference, right? And this is based on 7th edition of the things. Now let's move to the next one, please. Shall we move? Yeah. So after referencing, let's have a quick look on the formatting of pages, because this is very important in writing a journal article as well. Right, please take care. So we have formatting, title page, abstract, text, referencing, footnotes, tables, figures, and appendix. This is the formatting of pages, even in research and writing of journal, because in APS 7th edition journal regarding journal publication, they have also made a separate chapter, which is a very advanced point in APS 7. Right, moving to the next one, page setting. A page header, as you are all familiar with, how we have make a set of pages. All pages contain page number. As you can see on the screen, flush right at the header of every page. Font. Yeah, this time APS 7 has introduced multiple font, not only New Times Roman, but there are different font size for a different font type. 12 for New Times Roman, 11 for Calibri, and 11 for others. Look at the guys in the screen. And regarding page margins, 1 inch in all sides and top, but this might be different in terms of dissertations and theses. 1.5 on the left, 1.5 in the left for the margins, because the regions was to be bound, and this varies from the departments and universities. This was the page setup. Right, to move further. Well, now, what was the referencing practice in journals? Can you, can Lena share the idea, please?
Yeah, so I have brought the example from this Journal of Education and Research, where I'm one of the member editorial team. So we also need to, we have tried to bring this and give a lot of information to the authors in the author guideline regarding the APA 7th APA style. But still, I can feel that there's so many information that we need to give, and then there's just little information, right, in the guideline. For example, we have also given the example of these, we have said that we use no more than 3 levels of headings, right? But then APA now it has come up with the 5 headings. So I think, but then we have given the guidelines only up to the 3. The 3 headings. So in this way, like, there's not just enough information still. I can feel that there's still not information in our guidelines. So I think we can do that. And we have also given in the guideline about the in-text citation, how we do that. And also like the various kinds of different notes, when you cite the book with a single author, with multiple authors, when there is an incorporate author, how you cite the edited author, unpublished thesis and dissertation, which is published online, which is not published, and and then from the magazine as well, translated book, so dictionary, all these things are, and even like editorial, how we can cite the editorial from our journal. So those things also has been given, and then we have always given the reference that there should be a DOI number. In like some of the earlier journals articles, we can see that there's no DOI, but still now DOI has come in much practice. So we have clearly mentioned that. So this is one of our preference that we would like to see in the references. So these are the things that we have included in this Journal of Education and Research.
This is true. So we will be focusing on the ideas like, all right. And one more interesting thing that you need to understand is in terms of citing or citation, right? Many journals, for example, Elsevier, if you see, it prefers more on citation, having multiple authors in compared to Routledge and Sage. If you see lots of in citation having multiple authors, they try to make a claim on different ideas, how we can relate the things with the situations, how your topic, how your ideas, not complete sentence, even the key terminology that you are citing, they want the reference, they want the referencing, and they want the citation too. Another important point is that some of the journals look for the recent data. If we are taking the citing simply, for example, we are in 2022, and most of our citations are from 2012 or 2009 or 2009 or 2005. Might be the case like some of the people would like to see what the recent changes have worked on. So this might be some of the cases for even acceptance or rejections of the ideas too. Right? Now, moving to the next one. Right. What are the differences in APS 6th and 7th?
Maybe you can look into the slide, and then I'll follow the next one.
Sure. APS 6th and 7th, if you can see on the screen, right? It's filled with 100+ examples of in-text citations and new reference examples. Even Twitter, which I said earlier, blogs, YouTube, personal communication anymore. And the interesting thing is that it includes sample paper for students. And there are features of new chapter for journal article reporting examples, which the acronym is JARS, right? And offers a new guidelines on a bias-free language. Even they look for the academic vocabulary too. What are the examples of bias-free language too? Guidelines for formatting tables and figures consistently. And it also looks for the ethics or ethical writing practices and publication, which can be one of the important idea when you develop the guidelines. Here we go. What are the major technicalities, new technicalities in APA 7th manual then? Over to you.
Yeah. Okay, so since we need to be much familiar with various technicalities in the 7th APA manual, there's a lot of minor things, but still major things. So as I have mentioned earlier, we have, when we discussed in the earlier slides, there are some things has already come up, but still we'd like to see what are the new changes in the new 7th APA manual that came in October 2019. So we don't have to include the publisher location, that's actually this city name. And we have to shorten the in-text citation for 3+ authors right from the first citation. So in the earlier one, what we used to do is first when we cite the authors, there's more than 3 authors, we used to cite for the first time, we bring all the authors' name there, okay? But then here in the 7th edition, right from the beginning, you can just write down the first author and then et al. And then the year. Okay, so and I think this again also has come up that earlier it was 7. Now we can include authors, the name of the authors up to 21 in the reference list. And then, when before we had this kind of practice in the earlier, like, we used to level the DOI, and then there is a colon, it used to be like that. But now it is formatted, this DOI, digital object identifier. Now it has been formatted as URL. All right, so and then we have to cite this complete URL of DOI in our reference list. So only just giving the DOI number is not enough. It has to, since it has been formatted now in URL, we have to give the whole link there. And then this link, this has to be direct link. It has to be hyperlinked so that if we want to know that, if we want to know more information or go through that certain source, then it takes us to that, citation or reference, and then it has to be in lowercase. So these things are there, the changes that has happened in 7th APA manual. And now we don't use this retrieve from. Okay, so it's not required nowadays before the URLs or DOI, because we used to write, right? So the source, the title there, and retrieve from this date, and then they used to give URL, right? So, but now in this case, you can also have these kind of resources is only applicable where the resources that are archived. All right, so in that case only we do this retrieve from. Otherwise, like, for example, like Wikipedia, there you can write down. Otherwise, we don't use this retrieve from in our reference list. And there's also about the format, platform, or device for ebooks is not necessary to include now. Now you can see the 7th APA manual has made our work much easier, because first of all, it's also quite detailed, but then it's easier for the author actually. Previously, we had to also mention, like, if the name of the book, then there is like, if it's from the Kindle book, and then that has to go in the parentheses. But then now we don't have to write those platform or the devices, especially of the ebooks. Yeah, so next slide, Ashok sir. Yes. So, and here there is the guideline is also there here in this, I think that comes in especially about the inclusive and bias-free language is used here. And for example, they, we don't write he or she, but we use they as a singular, or for the gender neutral pronoun. So that's mostly included in chapters 4 and 5 of this APA manual. So this is also quite of, it's also kind of respecting, respecting the attribute of, or you can say attributes of human traits, the emotions. So those kind of things are in order to avoid this anthropomorphism. So this is also a very good part that APA has covered. And the different papers and format guidelines actually is there for both professionals and students, right? For professionals, like us who would like to submit our articles for the publications, for the authors or for the editors. And for the students, is like when we give an assignment, when we ask them to write an essay in our courses, in a university program, there they have different format. So this kind of 2 different format guideline is given for the professionals as well as the students. Now here we will be following the format of the professionals here. For example, this is just an example of this running head. All right. So before, as a professional or as an author, what we used to do was like, there was a running head, used to write a running head in small letter, and then the title of the article, and then there used to be the page number, right? But now it has been simplified. You don't have to write the running head small letter. You can just go straight with the chapter of your title, and then there is a page number in the other side. All right. And whereas for the students, they don't have to write this running head. You can see this kind of differences is there. This is an example. The whole complete guideline is there in the APA. And then there is, before we just had only one font, that was Times New Roman 12 font size. Now there's much more flexibility in the font choices as well. So you can see there is about 5 font choices we have for the authors. We can write down this Calibri in 11, Arial 11. So this is the font size. The Lucida Sans Unicode, that's in 10, and the Times New Roman 12, that was the which was we practiced in the earlier one also, and then Georgia 11. So there is altogether 5 font choices that is available for the authors, So but now we just don't have to be fixed only with the only one font. And then in these APA manual now, it's looking for more information of the author. All right, so this kind of information is about not just the, not just the your designation or your university that you are affiliated with, or the department, but it's also, or not just email address, but it's also about the ORCID IDs. I don't know how many of you know this, but this is the current need, current trend that APA is demanding from the authors. So if you haven't, created your ORCID ID, now it's the time you have to do that, because when you submit your articles, the editors will be demanding for these ORCID IDs. So some of the journals, they haven't yet done so, but now we have to do that. ORCID ID is a kind of unique, identifier of the author, where you are given the number. All right, so it's called Open Research and Contributor ID. All right, so it says about your research work. What kind of research work you have done. So those kind of IDs there, and it enables you these research practice in the transparency, right? To have a transparency in their citation in the work, and then so that it's also accessible to many people. Now you will be, as a researcher or as an author, these APA demands you to have this kind of an ID. So it's an ID that you get, and once you have an ID, we can look into that ID and we can just go through the various, the articles or book chapters that you have published. So a kind of work, it's deposited there, and we are given this authority for that. It's kind of identifying our work. giving the credit. I mean, we have been saying giving credit to the author. So that's how it is being practiced now here. So earlier we also used to have double space, the period, but now here we just use only one space after the period. So that's we do. And now, let me give you another example of how there's a change in the 7th APA manual, from the earlier 6th one, especially with the heading. All right, so there's another slide with that. So here, earlier there was the headings of for only level, heading style for level 1, 2, and 3. As I mentioned earlier, even in our journal, we had up to 3. But now the APA has given this format for level heading 4 and 5 as well. Now you can see the difference there in the, 6th edition, and then the other one is with the 7th edition. So the first one and second one, there's not much difference. It's in the centered, it's bold, right? And then the second heading is intent, left intent, right? And then the third one, you can see the third is in this 7th edition, it's flush left, all right? And then there is also it's a little bit of flush left. And then in the fourth one, there's not a fourth one in the 6th edition, it's not bold. All right, it's just normal one, right? But in the 7th edition, you can see it's bold as well as it is italicized. All right, and then the 5th one is the same. So it's more about giving clarity on, for the readers to go through the report according to the APA. So this kind of minute, changes are there. We might not be used to it, this new one, but this is how the it's been presented, the format in the APA manual. So I think we can also follow this from now onwards.
That's true. And this might be less important in journal formatting. This is more important in thesis and dissertations, right?
Yes.
Well, moving to the further situation, we spoke a lot. Now it's your time. A little bit earlier than the quiz time. Think critically. We will be giving you the options. Now, may I request Vikasji just to put this link in the chat box so that we'll have the things. Thank you, Indira, for your ID as well. Archidaya, good ID. That's true. Thank you. Another who might be working with the things first. Well, you could just click on the Google link. Thank you. That has been shared by Vikasji.
Sukhji, I can share the result after some time. Like let's.
Sorry, it's not the Jambo. It's a
quiz. Of course, it's
not this one. It's not this one. Sorry,
in Google form, right?
Google form. Let me give you a quick.
It's not this one.
Okay, thank you.
It's a Google form.
Just give me a pause.
You didn't get it?
Here we go.
I can post the ones.
Yeah, that's in the Google form as well. And I'll be also posting for you. Yeah, here you go.
There are just only 5 questions.
There's simply 5 questions, please.
No. I think we can stop this presentation and I'll show you the result after some time as we receive the response.
Yeah. Sure. So, can we see the result, please? Yeah. Sorry, you're muted. No problem. Please check the results here.
Okay, I haven't got any response yet. So I think there are still, because as you have mentioned, think critically. So I think it will take a few more minutes to fill up the answers. So as we just go into the answers, we'll also try to clarify some of your concerns that you had asked in between.
You can share your screen for the answer, that would be easier for us, for them.
More minutes.
Yeah, some of them said they have submitted.
Yes, we are receiving the response. Let me share then.
Me too, yeah. Response is submitted. Please give a try. Don't forget to give a try. Great.
Is it visible? Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah. Some
But
of them
not
say,
clear.
If you want to see a little bit larger, yeah. Okay, fine.
Yeah, we have
Is it
16
visible now?
responses received so far. 18
So we have
responses,
got,
great.
yeah, 20.
20,
See,
20, great. 20, yes.
Yeah. So at least I think we should get 35, isn't it?
Let's see. Let's see, 21. We'll wait for a few minutes more.
$25.
When it reaches 30, I think it's will be discussion.
Yeah. But we are 44 altogether right now. And that would be 42 if we exclude both of us.
Sure.
Yeah, let's wait for a few more responses. And that would be interesting. Please don't hesitate. It's a try, and that's how we learn.
Why is the name of journal italicized, but not the article? Interesting. That many of you are asking earlier, right? The questions in the chat box.
Okay. So, yeah. So we can see, I think 30. All right. So there's 30 responses to now. All right. We can see the result. So the first one, the first question is, why is the name of journal italicized but not the article, right? So there was also the question in between, like about the italicized, the journal. We all know that the name of the journal is italicized, and then the even there's volume, right? Volume number, not the issue, but the volume, and then the book is also, the name of the book is also italicized. So we now need to know what is the importance of these italicizations, right? Why we need to do that. So there are 4 options. The journal is regularly published, but the articles are published only once. That was the first. Second is the journal is given more credit than the article. All right. And then I think then third one is the journal is taken as a larger work in academia. And then fourth option was all of above. Right. We have got more responses from the fourth option, all of above, 48.5%. And then 24 of you have said that journal is taken as a larger work in academia. And 8.8% has said is given more credit than the article. Right. And then and 17.6 of you had said that journals regularly published, but the articles are published only once. So any guesses? You can see a lot of responses, though of you, many of you have said it's 50% of you, half of you have said that it's all of ever, but it's not actually. It's the reason the larger work, the larger journal is actually a larger work. There's a lot of team, the editors like you, the reviewers, and the university. There's a lot many efforts who are doing the voluntary works, and it's doing the contribution in the knowledge, industry, right? So in academia, in the scholarship, that's why journal is italicized, and volume is also italicized because one volume has different issues. All right, so issues is not italicized, but the volume. So articles, like, we give credit to both the article.
Moving further. Yes. Let me have a quick check with the things first. I think, yes. She's there. Lena, over to you. I think it's time we did. You are muted, please. Let's quick go. You are muted.
Yeah, what happened?
No problem. There might be some.
I was showing the result.
Close was
You
there.
didn't hear me?
Yeah, it's fine. Can we share a little bit quickly?
All right. So here, shall I start again?
No, it's good. We were listening. Just quick pause was there, so that you can wrap up quickly.
So the answer here is the third one. Answer. Yeah, the third answer is the third option is the right answer here, because the journal is taken as a larger work. That's why the book publication is also important. That's why the name of the book is italicized. The volume is more important than issues, so volume is italicized, and the journal is more important. Like article is also equally important, but the journal, there's a lot of efforts of the editors and reviewers in the publishers, so that's why the journal has more importance. So it looks into the larger work. That's why the third one is the correct answer, the first one. And the second one is, what are the things italicized in the reference list? All right, so journal name, journal volume, both, a journal published year. So many of you have said both. So yeah, both, third one is the correct answer. All right, journal name and the journal volume. Okay, so we don't italicize the published year. And so third one is, all the preposition of the journal are not capitalized. Even if in the journal name you can see of and this kind of prepositions, they are not italicized, they are not capitalized, but it's not true. It's not true in a sense that all they are not capitalized, because the preposition which is more than 4 letters, they will be capitalized. For example, words such as, prepositions such as among, among ko a is a capital right? And of all these are not capitalized. So all of the prepositions actually are not capitalized. And then why is DOI required? DOI is required, for the international recognition of this scholarly communication. It is an identity which guarantees that it will never change, and to easily identify and locate the article from your citation. So it's actually all of these. For all of these, we need there's a DOI. How should we keep the DOI link in the reference? Lowercase, hyperlink. There's no space in between. If you have the space between DOI and the colon space, that again will not work. All right. Space in between. So that's why the answer is all of above. Yeah, thank you, Ashok sir.
Thank you.
That's
now
of,
let me can you stop your quick sharing, please?
The questions that we had asked.
Yeah, thank you so much for your reference and sharing. Now let's have a quick sharing with the anticipated problems and solutions. Dear participants, most of you have experience now what the problems that you might encounter, or you might come with the things first. So can you quickly write in the chat box, please? What can be the major problems in the referencing journal publication? Right, just one, it's okay for us that we have multiple ideas that we'll be sharing up. What can be the major anticipated problem that we might face while publishing a journal? Right, just quick on the chat box for your reference and sharing. Referencing, citing, referencing, we already shared. what might be the problems, anticipated problems the participants might encounter in the article? In-text citation and quotation, that's true. Thank you, Rajendra. Whatever others? What can be the major problems? Translated work, ideas keep changing. Okay, ideas keep changing. It might be in academic work, citing the citation work. Okay, multiple citations, that's true. Type of text and compositions. We were talking with this particularly. We didn't understand. Secondary citation, okay, secondary citation, no problem. Right. Quotation, sections of referencing, section number is problem. Technical congruity between in-text citation and reference, that's true. And now the next is, as a journal editor, how will you mitigate those problems? Right, the guidelines. We were discussing about that. So to mitigate this, what might be anticipated problem, based on the anticipated possible problems, we can make a guidelines so that there might be one of the solutions as well. Making correct references, listing query references within their options. Okay, how will you mitigate the problem? How will you solve those problems? May consult APS 7, might prepare basic guidelines, different types of cited work. Very good. What else? What else? Different types of citation work. Okay. Consult the knowledge of APA reference, make a checklist of citation. That's really true. Right. What else? APA consultation is, many of you said APA consult is necessary. So dear participants, thank you a lot for your anticipated problem. That's why we suggest you to prepare a guidelines for every for journal publication, and you might send, or you might keep in the website, so that, or it might be in a blog as well, like a different journal keep for them. Right. Now let's come to the discussion with the final thoughts. Well, we are by the end. I will not go to Jamboard because of time constraints. Now by the end, how did you feel? How did you feel this presentation? You can write in the chat box. What, or was it up to your mark? Right? And how did you feel? We want your feelings. Was it useful? Was it congruent? Did it meet your expectations? Yeah, that's true. It's technical attention we need there. That's true. We have less time to practice. That's true. Yeah. We try that.
Yeah, but
Like,
we have to create these materials in
that's true.
materials for our participants, because we couldn't cover a lot of things.
Yeah, we will send that
in this very short period. So, and
that's
we'll
true.
share that as well. Yeah.
Update ourselves. Okay, locate it. Was it useful? Thank you. Thank you so much for your excellent remark. Yes, there are still ways. There are more than 200 examples in APA, right? In chapter 9 and chapter 10. So we have already prepared. We also prepared 30 to 40 pages article are based on this APA, and we will send you through the Nelta network, and we'll send to Bikasi, and we will be sending out. So final thought is the time for your attending. These were the references and the open sources of image that we have consulted. And these are some formal guidelines that you might consult for APA referencing. We have produced a quick guide to writing Purdue University. Excellent guides and styles are there. We have recordings of it in my own webs and Facebook groups, which you can find it out. We'll send you these links as well. And then now here is the attendance and feedback link. So because you can share it, the idea that some of your participants were expecting. Then after, before we say thank you to you all for your participation, you can check your attendance link and feedback link in the chat box, please. Over to you, Bikasi. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Lina.
Thank you all. Thank you everyone for your patience and your attendance, your participation.
Thank you a lot for your for your sharing, your participation. It's a little bit technical. We will try to make it more interactive, right? Through other activities as well. Hope you have enjoyed it. That's true. I appreciate that ideas of DNG. It's in a single class in couple
Thank
of.
you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Video is not supporting because of this weather or what, I don't know.
Despite many challenges, you were able to join. Outside, it's pretty cold. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you all for your things and ideas and sharings.
Ashok sir, Lina ma'am.
Yes, please.
Still I am confused regarding quoted or cited in APA style, in-text citation.
In-text citation. We will not say quotation. We say citation.
Cited. We write cited.
Yes,
Cited.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cited. Okay, thank you.
Cited. So thank you everyone for your reference and for your things. Feedback form is there. Attendance form is there. Please don't forget. Yeah.
We are
then
meeting
after.
together on Monday.
Yeah, because you will send you the link just 2 days after each, right? Today and one after next. We have on Monday, Sunday, I guess. But we'll
Monday, it's Monday, not Sunday.
It's Monday. Okay,
Monday.
great. It's Monday. It's Monday. Great.
Sunday.
So quick, if I share you, it's quickly. It's a very nice coming up with the Monday. That's 7th February. That's true. 6 to 8. See you on Monday. Have a great time and your ideas. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you, sir and ma'am.
Thank you. Wonderful presenters.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and
Thank you so
everyone.
much, everyone.
Lina ma'am, how are you nowadays?
Oh, Kalpana ji, yeah, I'm good.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm doing good.
you were positive at that time. I heard the news.
Yeah.
Are you negative nowadays?
Yes, I'm doing good now. My health is absolutely fine.
Good, great news, ma'am.
Yeah. I think there was a question from Rajendra Prasad, sir. He said he was confused a little bit about quotation and citation. Rajendra sir, sir?
Yes, I was there and I got the answer.
Oh, okay, fine.
So it should be cited, not quoted, yeah?
Mhm. It's about direct quoted or direct quote and indirect quote. Like the
okay.
citation is about giving author ko to naam nahi rakhne, haina, date nahi rakhne, source or location or dine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Because sir, I think we can stop the recording.
The recording has already stopped, I guess. And it's time to end. Yeah.